Today we're gonna be looking at a little bit more of a fun build, DTs into an expand, and it's pretty damn greedy. So let's not try to do this on a larger map, but more of a closed second like Shakura, so you can easily force field the ramp and negate some of those heavy two-base timing pushes Terran has if your DTs don't do as much damage as you'd like. That's exactly what you're going to see here. My DTs do exactly no damage, but I'm still able to transition out because they provide such fantastic map control and let me be greedy as always. I mean, who doesn't love to be greedy? So anyways, we're going to see me start off with a normal 9 pylon and go into a what looks to be a 1-gate expand. Now the whole thing is kind of metagaming the Terran into thinking you're going 1-gate expand, but then at the same time cutting corners so you can get that expand up on this at a relatively the same time, but as well as DTs. It leaves you with pretty much no units. I mean, a Zealot and Stalker until pretty far into the game. So any like 4 racks pressure with Marines, you're going to die. So be very wary of this. This should only be used, if you kind of want to mess around. Or maybe you're metagaming your opponent in like a best of 3 and he doesn't do that mid-game pressure with 4 racks Marine after an expand. So I'll take the normal 14 gas. And the key thing is constantly, continuing probe production. I'm not really going to cut probes until I need to get down my gates and my expansion. And then after that, continuous probe production. So if it does no damage, I still have that nice solid economy to back up on. You'll just see me scouting here and continuing to get my gas up. Normal 12 gate and most of the chrono is spent on my Nexus. The key thing is 12 gate, not 13. 12 gate allows you to get your twilight counts up a little bit faster and hopefully sneak in before the standard 7-10 turret plant. But, Terrans like to deviate sometimes and it's not always going to work out your way. So I'm scouting the 1 racks FE. And I know that most likely there's not going to be a lot of pressure here. So, I'm like, all right, let's go for the DT expand. Your nose will take another gas around 18, 19. And chrono out that Zealot pretty soon here. Hopefully. Oh, nope, no Zealot this time. It's going to be a Stalker, just a fast Stalker. And I'm not going to spend any minerals on a Zealot. Hopefully I get that expansion up a little bit faster. Now the problem with not going Zealot first in this matchup is they can place down an Engineering Bay. At the same time, it's not that big a deal because my expansion is not up that fast, so I do have a little leeway. And yeah, so personal choice right here. Again, searching for this SCV is a huge deal. You can't let him scout anything. So right after my Stalker gets out, I'm gonna throw down my Twilight Council. And then I'm going to cut some probes after the Twilight Council drops down to get out my expansion, just to make it seem like I'm not doing anything weird. The whole thing right here is metagaming. It's making sure your Terran opponent doesn't think you're doing anything funky. If he sees a standard Nexus timing, he's going to think you're going to go for that normal Stalker and then 2-sentry 1-gate expand, which seems pretty effective on this map as it lets you be greedy. So you're going to see me expand, and I'm cutting probes at around 25. My my Twilight Council is almost finished. I'm going to poke the front. See, he is, doing that 1-gate expand. The 1 racks expand. And immediately as my Twilight Council finishes, I'm going into DTs. Now, I'm still cutting probes, so it's going to be a little bit hurting on my economy, but I'll need to get those gates up as fast as possible. So 3 gates is the number I choose. By the time the DT shrine finishes, I'll have enough gas for 3 DTs, so it just works out that way. And here's the scan, and look, he sees none of my tech. He just sees 3 gates. Now, they are quite delayed, and he sees nothing else, so he's probably going to get a little suspicious here, if he's somewhat decent. So you're going to see reaction from him. In the production bay, you can see that he's already producing an engineering bay. This Terran's pretty on it. Notice me still chronoing probes. Probe production is vital now. I'm not cutting anything, but I'm not cutting any more probes anymore. I'm constantly chrono boosting my Nexus and just preparing for my DTs. You're going to want to get a proxy pylon up as soon as possible so you can get your DTs the shortest walk distance. If you're doing this build perfectly, 12 gate, 16 cyber, and then Twilight Council as fast right as the cyber pops, you should get your DTs in around 655. I was a little slow on this one, so we're going to see why I don't get the benefit of that nice timing. Around 655, they shouldn't have a turret. You know, like I said, they should have around 710. And you're gonna see that exact timing right here. Again, my stalker's holding in the front of the ramp to make sure no pressure's coming. You might want to check the front, and I see that turret there. That's a huge deal. I see the turret, I don't invest in the DTs at all. I'm gonna throw down 2 more forges right here. So I invested all this money into DT tech, and I'm still not using it. I'm gonna warp in 3 sentries so I can force for the ramp any mid-game pressure. I'm gonna keep boosting my nexuses, and I'm gonna throw down 2 forges. These 2 forges give me a solid mid-game, and they should even me out somewhat if he decides to play straight up. After 2 forges, I'm adding 3 more gates to a count of 6 gates total, and soon after I'm gonna charge. So I'm gonna have Archon, Zealot, Sentry with upgrades, which is a totally fine composition and quite strong in the mid game. You're gonna see me use some DTs here to maintain map control and try to keep him in his base until I can get comfortable. Get these forges going as fast as possible. Almost constant chronos on your forges. This whole deal with his DTs is maintaining map control. You see him pushing out right now on the mini map. I should look over there in a second. Come on. Here we go. So my charge pops up, and I kept him in his base. So I lost the DT, but I managed to keep him in his base, and I maintained map control. And look, I'm still on 3 sentries, so I'm getting +1 plus armor, charge, and 6 gates up, plus a pretty much even economy, and he can't pressure me. I mean, for doing no damage, this is pretty a solid build if he doesn't do mid-game pressure with like the 4 racks Marine. Again, you see the constant chrono boost on the forges, and here I start building up my army a little bit, kind of bulking out. I've invested in my tech. From this point on, you kind of just want to make sure he doesn't do any drops and maintain map control. As you see, I have both watchtowers, and I'm leaving pylons on the side of my bases to make sure I have full vision of my base, which is hugely important in the PvT matchup. Those drops, if you don't see them when they're coming in, insane damage. So now we're just progressing into the mid and late game. You see him pushing out now, and my army's getting a little bit more developed. I'm adding Archons. My 1-1's going to finish by the time he hits me. This is perfect timing for me. I mean, he's not going to have 1-1, really. He's just working on his combat shield, and I have charge finished. I've charged +1-1 and Archons. This army right here should be able to deal with him pretty well if he doesn't have ghosts. So here's the engagement. I'm gonna if you get some good force fields, Charge Watch just eat through unsupported bio with no medevacs, and you see him kind of cutting corners to try and do some damage to me because of the heavy tech I did in the early game. So now I've successfully crushed his army, and now I'm kind of preparing again the map control. You're gonna see me take the watchtowers with my DTs. I'm gonna expand after I win that battle. Right after we win a battle, we expand. And then again, watching for drops the entire time. Drops are going to be your biggest concern. Once he sees the DTs and the Archon comp, he's going to want to go Ghost. So my natural thought process is go Colo. So I'm going to transition into Colossus pretty heavily here. Again, never stopping on your upgrades until 2-2. And then once you hit 2-2, you can kind of let up for the 3-3 and get that solid unit comp, and then you can go into 3-3. 3-3 takes so long to pay off that it's really something you want to invest in when you're more comfortable rather than this kind of scary timing when he has ghosts and you don't have that high colo count out. I'm spreading out my units you see here and getting more Archons just to make sure I can handle his push with his ghosts and medevacs, which is pretty scary timing. Transferring probes to my 3rd and getting my gases up. So we see his upgrades are just working on 2-1, and I'm working on 3-3 now. So my upgrade advantage is pretty solid and pretty comfortable. Here's the engagement. It's a little bit sloppy on my part. You see he's focused on Archons, which is pretty nice, and you're going to see how effective the upgrades really are for Charge Watch. He overspins a little bit, but at the same time, he's really not going to kill me because I have the Colo and he has no Vikings. So I hold off that push, and I'm getting that 3-3 advantage. And now I'm going to really heavily transition into Colossus. So about 2 Robos. When I finish my 3-3 up, I'm going to get into High Temple. I have to have around 4 Colo. Again, you don't want to go above 4 Colo. At 4 Colossus, Terran's a really hard time deciding how many Vikings to make. If he overmakes Vikings, your army's going to crush him because you have the upgrade advantage. If he undermakes, your Colo are just going to rape him. So it's really a hard middle ground for Terran. So 4 is pretty much the perfect number, I think. Here's his drop comes in, does almost no damage. Again, DTs are fantastic for stopping drops, especially when playing against those lower APM players. They can't really tell. and get that scan off in time. Now you just see me macroing up, getting up that nice composition. You're going to want Archons around 12 Stalkers and 4 Colossus. So my 3-3 finish, immediately when 3-3 finishes, I'm going into High Templar to try to combat those Ghosts and Heavy Marine count that's sure to come. Now he's maxed here, and you're going to see how effective this army is when he's not similar upgrade advantage. His entire army's crushed, and I'm able to pretty much secure my win there. So the game's pretty much over. Again, another battle won. I expand again. My High Templar are coming in, some Warp and some High Templar to gain energy, and I'm going to try to go push his third because he can't really remax that fast. So his third's pushed off, and he's pretty much dead in water. I mean, I'm up by 50 supply, and I have pretty much any tech available to me with an upgrade advantage. From here, it's just pretty much making sure you don't fuck up. You're going to want to make sure you don't let your Colossus get sniped by any Vikings, and make sure your High Templar don't get EMP'd. So on Shakuras, it's a great map for this. You can hide High Templar in the bushes and kind of play off those Salnaga Tower vision. At the same time, you want to fortify your bases. So I mean, at your 3rd and 4th, you want to throw down cannons. And at the same time, when you're maxed, throw down those gates. I mean, 15, 16 gates at least. If it's a super long macro game when you're on like 5 or 6 base, there's no problem with like 30 gates and 3 or 4 robos. You can instantly remax in those big fights. You're gonna see me go up to shield upgrades now. I mean, my income's pretty solid, and here just is the dance of dealing with ghosts and trying to feedback them so you can have a nice solid fight without getting all your shields depleted. So I've maxed up before him, and remember, this started off with behind, as I didn't get any damage done with my DTs. So it's all about mind games and kind of map control, especially on this kind of map. If you see me getting feedbacks off on his ghosts, and I'm gonna push in here, spread out nicely, and try to finish him off. He doesn't get EMPs on all of my High Templars, so I'm able to storm him, and that's pretty much game. He overmade Vikings, since, again, 4 is a perfect number. He overmade Vikings, and his bottom army just got rolled. But that's pretty much it. DT expand with a little pizzazz.